Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. A tough new approach to homelessness in the city of Fremont. The city council voted 6-1 last night to ban tent encampments on public property. Anyone caught aiding or abetting campers could also be charged with a misdemeanor. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie will officially sign his fentanyl state of emergency ordinance this afternoon. It is designed to expedite city contracts to address homelessness and other public safety issues. It'll also allow private donations to help pay for the operation. And former 49ers star Dana Stubblefield is going to speak this afternoon in San Jose. He was released from prison on Friday. His 2020 rape conviction was thrown out by the Court of Appeals back in December, citing racial bias in his trial. The Bay Area's only primetime newscasts at 8 and 9 p.m. on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, another atmospheric river is sweeping its way into the Bay Area later tonight. We're expecting heavy rain throughout Thursday, clearing up a little bit more into our Friday evening forecast. But from now until Friday, we could see anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches of rain locally in areas like San Francisco, all the way up into Santa Rosa. San Rafael expected to see 3 inches there. Down into the Santa Clara Valley, this is going to be an impressive storm too. Now, the National Weather Service has already issued flood watches, and potential warnings are going to be in effect as we head into the next couple of days too. We're also dealing with gusty winds as this system moves in from offshore. But from now until this afternoon, we're really just seeing cloudy skies. It's not until later tonight, around 5-6 o'clock, where our coast gets hit first, and we're gearing up for that heavy rain to come on the back end as we head into our overnight hours tonight, early morning hours tomorrow. We could see some thunderstorm activity with this, so if you're a light sleeper, keep that in mind. And if you have outdoor objects, well, it's going to be a gusty one too. So now is the time to prepare by bringing stuff inside, gearing up for what's to come into the overnight hours. Now, this rain will stay consistent until around 7-8 o'clock tomorrow along our coastline, clearing up a bit more around 9 o'clock throughout our inland areas. I say that because that's the morning commute time, but we're not done with the rain just yet. We'll see more as we head into our Thursday afternoon and evening forecast, and that's why those rainfall totals add up anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches. Now, we clear up a bit more as we head into our Friday forecast, and by Saturday and Sunday we're still left with clouds, don't get me wrong, but at least it's drier and a little bit warmer too as we head into next week by Monday and Tuesday. Now, that's just along the bay. We head all the way over into our inland spots, and we're seeing the exact same trend. Upper 50s today, low 60s tomorrow, with those showers sweeping in from offshore and wind gusts up to around 50 miles per hour at times.
That incoming atmospheric river is worrying some people in the North Bay. A family in Marin County still cannot return home because of damage from the storms that rolled through last week. Our Wilson Walker checked in with them ahead of this newest round of rain.
Right about here. We're facing the Marinwood Preserve behind our house. It's very beautiful typically. It's a little scary now.
For Dara Sherifit, the gorgeous hillside behind his home delivered a nightmare during last week's rain.
The water came from here and got stuck right here in the culvert.
Yeah, it's literally the hole is, yeah.
Called 911, and we had the fire department here. Everyone came, but they couldn't get it unplugged.
The rain dragged on for another day, and when more debris came downhill, the water surged.
Yeah, the water came to right about here, which is really crazy to think. I popped my head over, and oh my God, there's a flood coming. And I grab my wife and my son, bring them into the front of the house. And it just, like, a moat just covered our entire house from both sides. And it was literally just like 2 rivers around our property, just gushing through the driveway, tore down this fence, broke past here.
And in what he calls their dream home, the family is now living with the aftermath.
This is my son's room, who's 5. His name's Cameron. This was all carpeted as well, to remove all the walls. And
6-7 guys, 2 wheelbarrows, about 7-8 buckets, and about 6 hours worth just on that day.
Family and friends helped start the cleanup process, pulling about 2 feet of mud out of the backyard and the swimming pool that Dara built with his own hands. But that is not his main concern right now.
And there's been so much debris. You can see there's the wood, cut down tree branches, and animal remains all over.
The water is gone for now, but much of the debris that washed downhill is still sitting here, and Dara says it's more than he can move on his own, and he is worried that the next storm could send it all right back into the drain.
With another atmosphere.
In Southern California, people are bracing for potential flash floods and mudslides. The National Weather Service warns they could happen in areas near the Eaton and Palisades burn scars. Local officials expedited debris removal from the fires and set up barriers to reroute floodwaters and mud. We are here to keep you up to date as this latest round of rain moves through the Bay Area and across the state. Continuing coverage on air and streaming on the free CBS News app and on Pluto TV. Getting homeless people off the streets has been a long-standing challenge all across the Bay Area. Now, the city of Fremont has just made it illegal to set up a homeless encampment. The city council voted last night 6-1 to ban camps on public property. Also, it will now be a misdemeanor for people to aid or abet campers. The punishment, possible fines and or jail time. Our Kevin Coe heard from people who could be impacted by this change.
Adriel has lived on this sidewalk in downtown Fremont for about a year.
City workers came this morning to pick up the trash.
The 37-year-old lives here with his wife and dog, but it may not be for much longer.
I haven't heard anything about this. You're the first person to tell me anything. I'm just trying to live my life. I'm not bothering anyone, but what they're trying to do will greatly impact my life and my wife's.
A proposed camping ban ordinance would make it illegal for Adriel to stay here or anywhere across Fremont. Personal property would also not be allowed to be left behind and could be seized whether anyone is there or not.
This is from the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness.
Attorney David Bonacorsi says evidence across the board shows a camping ban would be ineffective at reducing homelessness. The former Fremont City Council member points to this staff report in 2017, stating in part, "We cannot expect to enforce our way out of the issue."
People are going to be happy in the short term, but you're only dealing with the symptoms and you're not dealing with underlying causes.
Data collected by Alameda County shows Fremont saw a 21% reduction in homelessness in the past 2 years. Vivian Wan is with Abode Services, an organization helping provide housing and services to the homeless population. Wan is concerned about a specific clause in the proposed ordinance. Anyone aiding or abetting someone camping could also be charged with a misdemeanor.
Honestly, it's an insult to my values. It's an insult to our organizations, an insult to a community that I love. My staff should feel safe to do their really noble jobs, and it feels like we're being attacked as part of the problem.
Raj Salwan is Fremont's mayor.
What is your message to outreach workers who are concerned?
We are not looking to penalize anybody. In fact, we need them. They're our army. And so I think it's being misinterpreted that we're trying to penalize folks for helping. Absolutely not.
Fremont Mayor Raj Salwan says he is open to amending or modifying the ordinance to avoid any confusion.
We need to be both compassionate and use common sense because, the community has voiced that this is their topmost concern.
That was also apparent at a recent city council meeting where many residents shared their own negative experiences with the unhoused.
Fire was caused by the homeless encampment.
This specific provision was written for these unregulated structures that are built in parks and in our waterways. And many times they are not safe. They're prone to fire hazard.
That means Adriel may not have to worry about being on a sidewalk, but he worries that the definition of the ordinance will outweigh its intent. He's not sure where exactly he'd go next.
Moving around until I stayed somewhere where they would stop bothering me, until I was pushed far enough for their comfort.
Fremont's new homeless policy is set to take effect next month. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, it's a downtown success story, but a pilot program credited for helping clean up an historic Concord Plaza is running out of money. We're going to meet the business owners working to save it. Plus, a push to protect the redwoods in the South Bay Park, severely impacted from a major wildfire. We're going to hear from those behind the plan to save them. And Chinatown getting ready to ring in the year of the snake. We're going along with some people preparing the floats for the big Chinese New Year parade.
We want things to stand out.
Well, good news for people who love Northern California's redwoods. A Sonoma County park is going to dramatically expand, and some pristine redwoods will be protected under a new conservation deal. The San Francisco-based group Save the Redwoods League has agreed to buy more than 1,500 acres of redwood and Douglas fir forests near Monterey. This map shows the Monterey redwoods expansion shaded there in yellow. It's near the Russian River. Conservation group will pay $24 million for that land. And the deal is going to bring together more than 34 square miles of conserved land, including 1,200 acres of redwood forest and nearly 4 miles of streams. The purchase agreement with the Mendocino Redwood Company is set to close in May. It has been almost 5 years since a lightning-fueled wildfire caused some major damage in Big Basin State Park. That includes scorching some 1,000-year-old redwoods. Since then, an environmental group has been working to make sure those trees are protected far into the future. They spoke with our Len Ramirez at the park in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Well, some of the trees here at Big Basin State Park are thousands of years old, but 125 years ago, they were being clear-cut in practically no time. That is until the Sempervirens Club stepped in and put a stop to it. And today, the club is still around and still protecting these trees for centuries into the future.
If these ancient redwoods could speak, they might tell a tale of improbable survival and near-death experiences.
Big Basin was created in 1902 because citizens learned about unfettered, clear-cut logging that was happening across the Redwood Range
That's Sarah Barth of the Sempervirens Fund. She's talking about her predecessors who dared to go against the grain, founding California's earliest conservation trust 125 years ago.
The old growth that we're about to walk through here is really what inspired activism on the part of the founders of Sempervirens Fund. And it was revolutionary at the time to think that trees were worth something just left standing.
They were left standing, but only to face other man-made and natural threats to their existence. The 2020 CZU complex fire, which was caused by lightning, burned 97% of Big Basin State Park. The historic park headquarters and numerous cabins were burned to the ground, and tens of thousands of trees were incinerated. The cabins are gone forever, but the redwoods are still alive. The fire destroyed the wide and dark canopies, and the treetops have a bottle brush appearance, but they persevere.
This tree stands today, battle scarred, right? Here's the char from the most recent fire right here. And here's a scar showing out how the tree was alive but hollowed out by earlier fires. And you can see the trunk of the tree growing over and will continue to grow over to close that scar over time. And this tree is alive, a testament to the ability of redwoods to withstand even pretty extreme fire.
Now, Sarah says perhaps the greatest threat to the redwoods will be the hardest one to stop.
Climate change is as big or bigger of a threat to these forests than the saws were 125 years ago. The saws we could stop, and once they were stopped, the forests were saved. Climate change, we're not going to be able to just stop it.
She says the challenge is to manage old-growth forests in a way to lessen the impact of droughts, followed by floods, followed by fires. The state of California has already outlined plans to remove large parking lots at Big Basin for the benefit of the forest floor, increase shuttles, and limit camping to less sensitive areas. And Sarah says, just as her predecessors did before, the Sempervirens Fund is ready to go against the grain again, with even more controversial ideas to save the redwoods.
We're going to need to do things like thinning. That means logging, select logging. It means bringing fire into areas, controlled fire, to help reduce the flammability of these forests. And so I think the vision that Sempervirens Fund can provide today is helping the public understand why that's so essential if we want to see these beloved redwoods continue for the next 7 generations.
The next chapters in the lives of these old-growth trees haven't been written yet, but the new forest management strategy is already being rolled out by state parks.
I would love to be around another few thousand and see what's going to happen to it.
And visitors like Catherine and Susan can only hope that today's decisions will be as smart as those made 125 years ago and will have positive and long-lasting impacts on the ancient giants of the forest.
The city of Concord is running out of money right now to pay for a program to help revive Todos Santos Plaza. 2 years ago, business owners around the plaza got together to hire their own security guard, a trash cleanup crew, and pressure washers, all to help encourage more people to visit the area. And locals say it's made a big difference. But as our Katie Nielsen explains, business owners are now fighting to keep that program from shutting down.
Let's do a Mare Island Porter.
Justin Crossley started this tap room, Hop Grenade, right on the Todos Santos Square in downtown Concord over a decade ago. But after COVID, he noticed the area wasn't bouncing back as quickly as others, making him worry his business and others might not survive.
People just weren't feeling very safe down here, that they wanted to see it be a little cleaner, just a little less of the, I don't know, kind of craziness that was happening at the time.
He says because Todos Santos is public property, it's harder to manage some of the illegal activity happening, like drug use out in the open and unhoused residents sleeping in front of the businesses. So that's when he and local business owners got together to hire their own security guard and cleanup crews to work in the plaza area 7 days a week. They went to the city and got about $500,000 in the form of a grant from federal COVID funding to get the program up and going for 18 months.
It was a pilot program because we wanted to prove that this sort of action would make a difference down here.
Since then, Justin says it's been an overwhelming success. The first month, the security guard made around 82 contacts for illegal activity in the plaza. In December 2024, about 16 months later, that number was down to only 2 contacts. The problem now, the program is running out of money and going back to the council to ask for continued support.
Our worry is not that they're not interested in funding programs like this, it's that there just might not be funding.
Farmers market vendor Oliver Gallo says he really hopes the city can find funding because he's noticed a difference in the plaza, especially from a few years ago when families wouldn't come by as often because of the issues.
When it's a case of like someone like smoking weed right next to my tent and there's like a kid like walking like 5 feet in front of them, like that's something that we dealt with like, I don't know, two years ago.
Justin says when cities like Concord have a vibrant downtown area, it helps everyone.
Well, we have a beautiful downtown. And I think it's important for the city to remain invested in that. You can't just let a downtown go to waste, and especially one that's as nice as ours.
We have reached out to the Concord City Council to hear about the fate of the downtown security program and have not yet heard back. Still ahead, they are getting ready to take over the streets of Chinatown. We're going to give you a sneak peek at the floats on tap for this year's Chinese New Year parade.
I hope that when people see this, they don't only see something beautiful, but they recognize the artistry that went into it.
more clouds roll in throughout this afternoon. A little bit breezier conditions just ahead of the system. And then once we head into our 6, 7, 8 o'clock hour tonight, grab the umbrella. You're going to need it because we're all going to experience this rain moving in from offshore, and it gets heavier into the overnight hours tonight. We could see wind gusts also up to around 40, 50 miles per hour at times. This is the time to prepare now, this morning, while it's still calm and beautiful. Whether it's taking your dog on an extra long walk, whether it's taking all those outdoor objects and bringing them into the garage, or just timing it out for tomorrow morning. Because, I mean, look at this. We wake up tomorrow morning, your commute is going to be a little bit tricky and a little bit messy out there on the roads, trying to get to work, take the kids to school. You know the drill on a Thursday. You're just trying to wrap up the week. But we're going to be dealing with this on the back end, too. So we'll catch a little bit of a break around that 9 o'clock hour tomorrow. We see more rain throughout the afternoon hours. It's going to be a bit of a mess as we head into our Thursday afternoon forecast with on and off showers and some thunderstorm activity into those afternoon hours, too.
A team of Bay Area artists now putting the finishing touches on the parade floats that are going to take to the streets for San Francisco's big Chinese New Year parade this Saturday. Our Suji Nam got a peek at how it's all coming together.
The countdown is on for the Chinese New Year parade here on Saturday in San Francisco, and take a look all around me. Beautiful floats. 21 of them will be in the parade, including this gorgeous golden snake.
It kind of defied gravity with this sculpture, and I'm really kind of excited to see this moving through the streets with all the lights on it.
Stephanie Muffson, the owner and director of the Parade Guys, has been the brains and hands behind the Chinese New Year parade for nearly 20 years.
Parade is one of my favorites this year. This is for Bank of America. What I love about this one so much is how colorful it is. It's very whimsical and kind of fantastical. You can see there's a lot of cute little details with like butterflies flying in the plants. We've got these big oversized cherry blossoms growing all over it.
She and her team of more than 20 Bay Area artists and designers have been working together for the past 2 months, bringing the vision alive inside this Pier 19 warehouse.
We really try to approach everything with a sort of a diversity of color, of style. We want things to stand out.
More than 20 floats standing 13 feet high, 30 feet long, shining with vibrant colors, will be filling the streets of San Francisco.
This is probably my most exciting time going into the parade because of all the anticipation, all the energy, all the exciting energy, the vibrancy, the festive spirit.
Donald Liu of the San Francisco Chinese Chamber of Commerce says all the festivities for the Year of the Snake will be even more memorable. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie will be the honorary marshal in the parade.
You know, starting with the mayor's inaugural celebration in Chinatown and then continuing on with our flower fair and our Lunar New Year, we really want to see this to be very successful for Chinatown, for the neighborhood around it, and also for San Francisco.
And back here at the warehouse, it's all coming together. Stephanie says these floats that are made with wood and other repurposed materials are environmentally friendly.
Carved out of EPS foam. And for anyone that's concerned about that, I do want to mention that EPS foam is recyclable and we do recycle it.
She hopes that neighbors coming from near and far to enjoy the parade can share her passion for bringing joy through art.
I hope that when people see this, they don't only see something beautiful, but they recognize the artistry that went into it.
And the festivities continue on Saturday and Sunday. There will be a community street fair with more than 100 vendors along Grant Avenue.
So here is a look at that parade route. It starts at Market and 2nd and goes around Union Square and then ends at Kearny and Columbus. Parade organizers say the largest crowds will be closest to Chinatown if you're looking to join or avoid those crowds. And there's all sorts of events to celebrate the Year of the Snake. The Miss Chinatown USA pageant and ball is coming up on Friday night. And the parade on Saturday, of course, as well as that street fair Suji mentioned that runs all weekend. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, California's water supply making national headlines. We're going to hear from the state lawmaker trying to expand the use of recycled water to try to avoid future fights.
We're right in the middle of water controversy.
Plus, how President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration could be taking a toll on a Bay Area business.
We invested everything. We're just afraid of what's going to happen. Yes, we're very afraid of what's going to happen. How is business going to survive?
I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. A tough new approach to homelessness in the city of Fremont. The city council voted 6-1 last night to ban tent encampments on public property. Anyone caught aiding or abetting campers could also be charged with a misdemeanor. This morning, BART is celebrating the installation of its new fare gates at all downtown San Francisco stations. That comes, of course, just ahead of the NBA All-Star Game weekend. The agency says it'll replace more than 700 gates at all 50 stations system-wide by the end of next year. And Tulsi Gabbard, President Trump's pick for National Director of Intelligence, is now confirmed by the Senate. It was a 51-48 vote. One Republican, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, joined Democrats in opposing the military vet and former Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, another atmospheric river is sweeping its way into the Bay Area later tonight. We're expecting heavy rain throughout Thursday, clearing up a little bit more into our Friday evening forecast. But from now until Friday, we could see anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches of rain. Locally, in areas like San Francisco, all the way up into Santa Rosa, San Rafael expected to see 3 inches there. Down into the Santa Clara Valley, this is going to be an impressive storm too. Now, the National Weather Service has already issued flood watches, and potential warnings are going to be in effect as we head into the next couple of days too. We're also dealing with gusty winds as this system moves in from offshore. But from now until this afternoon, we're really just seeing cloudy skies. It's not until later tonight, around 5-6 o'clock, where our coast gets hit first, and we're gearing up for that heavy rain to come on the back end as we head into our overnight hours tonight, early morning hours tomorrow. We could see some thunderstorm activity with this, so if you're a light sleeper, keep that in mind. And if you have outdoor objects, well, it's going to be a gusty one too. So now is the time to prepare by bringing stuff inside, gearing up for what's to come into the overnight hours. Now, this rain will stay consistent until around 7-8 o'clock tomorrow along our coastline, clearing up a bit more around 9 o'clock throughout our inland areas. I say that because that's the morning commute time, but we're not done with the rain just yet. We'll see more as we head into our Thursday afternoon and evening forecast, and that's why those rainfall totals add up anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches. Now, we clear up a bit more as we head into our Friday forecast, and by Saturday and Sunday, we're still left with clouds, don't get me wrong, but at least it's drier and a little bit warmer too as we head into next week by Monday and Tuesday. Now, that's just along the bay. We head all the way over into our inland spots, and we're seeing the exact same trend. Upper 50s today, low 60s tomorrow, with those showers sweeping in from offshore and wind gusts up to around 50 miles per hour at times.
We have been out of a drought for several years now, but even when it's raining, California's water supply has remained a topic of national debate. And while there have been calls for more water storage, some people believe the problem could be solved if we stopped seeing water as just a single-use product. John Ramos explains.
Water has never been more important in the state of California than it is now, both environmentally and politically. And people are looking for any way they can to save every drop they can. Much of northern and central California's fresh water flows here toward the Delta. But with so much being siphoned off by so many different interests, it's becoming a huge battleground in State Senator Jerry McNerney's district.
We're right in the middle of water controversy. Basically, what I want to do is make sure that water is available through recycling, through storage, through a little bit of desal, so that we don't have to fight so much over the water that's available in the Delta.
So McNerney has introduced SB 31 to ease some regulations on the use of recycled water. The treated wastewater can already be legally used to irrigate most landscaping and lawns. But if, for example, a golf course or park uses it to fill a lake and heavy rains cause it to overflow, large fines could be levied as if it were a toxic spill. SB 31 would correct that.
Fans will be more likely to want to use it because they'll be facing less liability for spills or other incidents where water gets out.
It's a small correction, but it shows how closely the state's laws regarding water are being scrutinized these days, especially involving recycled water, which many see as the most readily abundant supply source. The Santa Clara Valley Water District began supporting recycling efforts in the 1950s.
We recognized early that it is a drought-resilient supply and locally controlled, and that we needed to offset, potable use.
Across the Bay Area, communities are installing the distinctive purple pipes that separate recycled water from drinking water. Aside from landscaping, it's being used to cool massive computer servers in Silicon Valley and to flush toilets at San Jose City Hall and San Jose State. But still, only about 15% of the county's recycled water is being put to use.
And Valley Water wants to take the next step and do potable reuse, which were regulations that came in effect in October, I believe.
Valley Water has built a plant that can clean wastewater so thoroughly that it can actually be used as drinking water. Now that the state has legalized it, their goal for potable use is 24,000 acre-feet per year, enough to supply about 72,000 households.
It will take some time, and of course public outreach will be really important.
In fact, now that the laws are changing, public opinion may be the biggest obstacle. It's one thing to water golf courses with water from the toilet. Offering it as drinking water may be an idea that's harder for people to swallow.
Right now, California uses about 700,000 acre-feet of recycled water each year. Governor Newsom has set a goal of using twice that amount by the year 2040. American teacher Mark Fogel waking up on American soil this morning after a prisoner swap with Russia. Last night, he met with President Trump at the White House. Fogel has been held in Russia since August 2021 for carrying less than a gram of prescribed medical marijuana. President Trump also confirmed another American is expected to be released at some point, but he did not elaborate. The president also signed an executive order directing government agencies to work with Elon Musk's DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Musk making an appearance alongside President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday, where he pushed to cut federal spending and reduce jobs. Many of DOGE's proposed cuts are already facing legal challenges. President Trump's proposed crackdown on immigration could be taking a toll on some immigrant-owned Bay Area businesses. Many of the president's executive actions are caught up in legal limbo, but our Veronica Macias spoke with the owner of a floral shop in South San Francisco, who says he's already seeing a drop in sales.
Hector Garcia, the owner of Iris Flowers here in South San Francisco in the downtown area off of Grand. He says, he's hard at work right now, hoping that the day of he sells lots of flowers. That's because things have been very quiet lately. His customers, who the majority are Latino, he says, haven't been coming in and placing orders for flowers. And he notices that on this strip in downtown, things have also been very quiet for other businesses too. Hector Garcia, who immigrated to the U.S. from Guatemala for a better life, is afraid all his dreams are wilting away. Life wasn't ever all roses. However, after 10 years of working 2 jobs 7 days a week, he managed to dedicate himself to his flower business in South San Francisco, and life felt like it had bloomed. Garcia says his sales have dropped nearly 70% year over year. He says many of his clients are from immigrant families, and they haven't been coming around.
All the Latino businesses here are suffering because there is no business. People are too afraid to walk the street, people no longer come to my shop, and sales have dropped dramatically.
Garcia says his sales plummeted around the time the national crackdown on immigration began. The store's profits have already been impacted by the high inflation.
With all the problems that we are having, with the rise in prices and tariffs, everything is expensive, and we fear we are not going to have a good business on what's supposed to be one of the best seasons for us around Valentine's Day.
With his flowers used for his arrangements coming from Mexico and Colombia, Garcia says he's following the proposed tariffs on items from Mexico very closely. He fears his business won't be able to survive another price hike.
We invested everything. We're just afraid of what's going to happen. Yes, we're very afraid of what's going to happen. How is business going to survive?
Garcia holds back tears as he thinks about all the work and the sacrifice that he's put into his business. People admit to being afraid, some limiting their outings to daily errands and responsibilities, attending mass, for example.
The fear is if you leave your home, you won't come back if you're detained. Who's going to manage responsibilities in this country? We do feel that there is a lot of fear in the community right now, but it's about food, rent, and sending money to your family and your country.
Recently, businesses along Grand Street in South San Francisco shut their doors, joining a campaign, A Day Without Immigrants. Garcia is hopeful it shows their buying power and vital impact on the economy.
I'm just one more immigrant, and we need to support one another. This harassment needs to stop. None of this is good for business.
So, Hector, already you've prepared about 300 arrangements, hoping that the day of, Valentine's Day, he puts a table outside and people come and purchase. But you were saying you've even bought less flowers, less material because you're not seeing the orders before last year, 50 this year, 2 so far?
Because this year is I got less flowers because I don't have that much orders, and I don't see, the many customers walking, because all the Latinos, these businesses supported more the Latinos, and a lot of Latinos now walking no more, around the streets.
And you say personally you have a lot of customers that are regulars, and they have also told you personal stories of being afraid of not having visas renewed and telling you that that is the problem in this community?
Yeah, because I have a lot of my customers, because this is all familiar, everybody know each other, and I see a lot of my customers, is over stressed out because the kids and the family, they don't have the visas, and the permits for work renewed no more.
Right. Well, we wish you all the best of luck. We know that you've worked very hard to open up your business, and you've been hard at work hoping that you sell on Valentine's Day, and hopefully we see lots of people sharing the love and buying flowers on Valentine's Day.
Well, coming up next, forget what you know about your neighborhood sports bar. There's a brand new one in San Francisco that looks like a bar, restaurant, arcade, and sports book all in one.
Forget what you're reading about. Come and experience what the Bay is.
Yeah, we're going to take you inside Splash at Thrive City and tell you about their plans well beyond the NBA's All-Star Weekends.
Rainy start into the evening hours tonight with heavy showers expected for our Thursday forecast. We could see areas throughout the East Bay and all the way over into San Francisco get close to around 3 inches of rain as we head into the next couple days. So now is the time to prepare as we're dealing with a dry morning ahead of us. And once we head into our Friday forecast, that's when those showers start to taper off. We'll see cloudy skies, but at least a drier setup for us as we head into our Saturday and Sunday forecast throughout the Bay. You head all the way over into our inland areas, it's the exact same trend with daytime highs in the upper 50s and lower 60s.
All-Star Weekend coming to San Francisco's Chase Center for the very first time, bringing some of the biggest NBA stars to town. You can expect a lot of excited basketball fans to gather in the area, and that's really a golden opportunity for those businesses that are now at Thrive City, and that includes a brand new bar that's really trying to make a name for itself by offering a little bit of everything. Our Kelsey Thorin takes us inside Splash.
As basketball fans from around the world converge on San Francisco for NBA All-Star Weekend, a new sports bar in Chase Center's Thrive City is looking to wow fans beyond what they'll see on the court.
We really wanted to create a little bit of a spectacle.
Andy Chun is one of the owners of Splash at Thrive City. The new bar just opened last week, and it definitely is a spectacle. 2 stories, 30,000 square feet, multiple bars, games, and of course, TVs, including this massive video wall above the venue's main bar.
I mean, it's huge, right? And it kind of reminds me of Las Vegas a little bit, like a sports book, especially in this area over here.
Andy told us he's heard that comparison a lot, and he has no problem with it.
People have said, rightly or critically or properly, you know, there is sort of a Vegas vibe to this place. And, you know, we don't have gambling here, but I think the spectacle of having all of this technology in one place, creating, you know, this really, really premium viewing experience is something that, like, let the people give them what they want, right? They don't have to go to Vegas to have that vibe here.
Andy says his hope, especially this weekend, is to show everyone just what the Bay is capable of offering.
We're opening up our doors, welcoming the world for All-Star Weekend and saying, the doom loop isn't here. You know, forget what you're reading about. Come and experience what the Bay is.
Andy says the bar already has several special events planned, including exclusive ones with Steph Curry during All-Star Weekend. The goal, he says, is to make Splash an integral part of fans' game day experience, as well as their every other day experience.
It doesn't matter if it's rugby, it's soccer, we have the NCAA tournament coming up. There's a million different ways or a million different activity. You know, Valkyries are going to be starting up soon. I mean, we're fired up.
Ahead of the NBA All-Star Weekend, a Bay Area basketball legend is getting some special recognition. Tonight, retired Golden State Warrior Rick Barry is going to become an honorary sheriff's deputy. The deputy stars are awarded to community members to recognize their support of public safety. A Bay Area company known for its flavored syrups is celebrating 100 years in business. Torani started off as a small mom-and-pop shop in San Francisco's North Beach. A couple that immigrated from Lucca, Italy, wanted to introduce Italian flavors to the Bay Area soda scene. Fast forward to today, the factory in San Leandro creates more than 160 syrups and sauces for more than 30 countries.
I think my family would be incredibly proud of what this team has done over all of these years and how we have built something together that is still rooted in our core values that we've had all these years.
The factory pushes out thousands of flavored syrup bottles a day, and the company is apparently releasing a special diamond flavor to mark 100 years in business. I don't know what diamonds taste like, but I think I'm gonna like it. Coming up, turning the unwanted into the unexpected. We're going to show you how a local artist is giving trash a second life.
Everything here would have or will be thrown away.
We'll see more clouds roll in throughout this afternoon, a little bit breezier conditions just ahead of the system. And then once we head into our 6, 7, 8 o'clock hour tonight, grab the umbrella. You're going to need it because we're all going to experience this rain moving in from offshore, and it gets heavier into the overnight hours tonight. We could see wind gusts also up to around 40, 50 miles per hour at times. This is the time to prepare now, this morning, while it's still calm and beautiful. Whether it's taking your dog on an extra long walk, whether it's taking all those outdoor objects and bringing them into the garage, or just timing it out for tomorrow morning. Because, I mean, look at this. We wake up tomorrow morning, your commute is going to be a little bit tricky and a little bit messy out there on the roads, trying to get to work, take the kids to school. You know the drill on a Thursday. You're just trying to wrap up the week, but we're going to be dealing with this on the back end too. So we'll catch a little bit of a break around that 9 o'clock hour tomorrow. We see more rain throughout the afternoon hours. It's going to be a bit of a mess as we head into our Thursday afternoon forecast with on and off showers and some thunderstorm activity into those afternoon hours too.
Well, some artists turn paint into masterpieces. Others work with a different palette, trash. Our Itai Had met up with the local trash artist, turning what others toss out into works that are anything but garbage.
When people talk trash about Austin Zombres' art, he doesn't get offended, because technically, they're not wrong.
Looks like it has a little bit too much moisture in the bottom.
Zombres is what's known as a trash artist. Once a week, he scours San Francisco's sidewalks, dumpsters, and stores, searching for what the rest of us throw away.
Do you have any, like maybe extra cigarette cartons?
His journey into the world of garbage began during a tough time, when buying traditional art supplies was out of reach.
Oh, thank you, man.
What started as a necessity soon became a passion and a mission.
Everything here would have or will be thrown away.
His studio is equal parts art gallery and recycling center, where cartons and boxes get a second chance at life.
No paint or pen used is one of my major rules.
His hyper-detailed collages reimagine familiar objects, like sneakers, burgers, and today, bananas. Each piece takes between 30 and 300 hours to complete and can sell for as much as $4,000.
One time I cut out 1,500 sesame seeds by hand, and the repetitiveness gave me some cramps.
It's that obsessive attention to detail that caught the art world's eye, leading to an invitation from the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art to showcase his technique in a live workshop.
It's about looking at things differently.
Krista Oropeza, owner of Incline Gallery, says trash or sustainable art is gaining traction because of the message it carries. But even he admits that at times it could be confusing.
No, that's not art here.
No, this is not.
This is actual.
This is for picking up trash here.
For Zombres, it's about turning the unwanted into the unexpected.
It's just something out of the box.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Proving that trash really can become treasure. As for anyone who says otherwise, well, that's just rubbish.
Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.